the Pisces Lunar Eclipse on August 27th and 28th is a time to let go of any old burden that's weighing you down, any old hurt that is keeping, hurt could be any responsibility, anywhere you were over-sacrificing yourself, not loving yourself, not giving yourself enough compassion, where you are caught up in a fantasy, caught up in an illusion, and not choosing to see reality, not choosing to ground and restore your energy in reality. Also, how you need to break free of routine and be open to change, be flexible, and let go of control and allow the universe to work through you, because you're not large and in charge. The universe is. So, this episode of the Cosmic Sky Podcast is your 12-sign horoscopes for the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces for all 12 zodiac signs. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Warmly welcoming any of you, anyone at all listening to this. Hello, welcome. I'm Everett Curdy. Welcome to the Cosmic Sky Podcast. I don't have a huge following on these other platforms right now, but it'll grow over time. I give myself the validation. I don't need any of you to give me the validation. I validate myself. I am good enough. My gifts and my voice are strong enough. I don't need views to, views or likes or whatever to tell me that I'm good enough. So, I practice internal validation. That's what the last eclipse, that's what the solar eclipse Leo was all about. Internally validating yourself. Internally, I'm validating myself on an innermost level. That's what I'm doing. On Instagram, I did post a little short clip of the video yesterday of the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, but I'm not going to do that. Again, it takes too much time and effort, and I don't want to do this. The image will be posted there. To the to the Instagram, not the whole video. Not the little video. It's part of the whole podcast episode. So let us get into what we need to know for all 12 zodiac signs. All 12 signs going on here. For this lunar eclipse, for this full moon lunar eclipse, which is happening August 27th and 28th. You can watch for your sun, moon, and rising sign. The timestamps are in this video. If you're watching on Spotify, if you're on Substack, then you just go in the description and go right to the timestamp. And this may or may not be on TikTok, so definitely on Spotify the timestamps will be there. So now let us delve into this lunar eclipse in Pisces happening very soon here in 10 days. 10 days from the point that I'm making this recording. So now let's start out with Aries. Now if you don't know your moon and rising sign, you can go to astro.com and find that information out. And so that's just a little other reminder I wanted to just insert here. Okay, so Aries. You can make great gains, Aries. Big gains. do all these great, wonderful things. If you get out of your own way, if you stop trying to do it all, force your will, do everything, because Aries wants to force into motion. It wants to push things into happening. It wants to push action. It wants to push all that it's trying to do. And this is saying to not do that. This is saying that the universe is large and in charge, and you are not large and in charge. It's saying to have surrendering control to spirit, and knowing that you're not meant to do it all on your own. You're not meant to force your will and just make things happen that way. You're meant to allow spirit to take over. And it's about allowing the universe to work through infinite possibilities, infinite potential going on here. Surrendering to the infinite possibilities of the universe. The starfish, as spirit animal, symbolizes this. How you are allowing the spirit to become great for you, to become big for you, to become really, really huge when it comes to all the infinite possibilities, as I keep mentioning that word over and over again, to have going on for you in your life. So allowing the spirit to move through you in that regard, in this way, is huge. And finally, can you flow and adapt with spirit? Can you flow and adapt? Can you allow spirit to take over instead of forcing and pushing your will? Instead of forcing something into motion, because Aries wants to be the one in control, wants to force things. So how can you just surrender and feel better in that sense when you allow the universe to work its magic and you co-create your life? We're not meant to just not, just create our lives just on our own, falling prey to spiritual narcolepsy. We are meant to flow and adapt to spirit. That is the guidance. Spirit is the guidance, and how can we be very, very willing to go in that direction? Now, Taurus, are you rigidly holding on to a certain structure, a certain way of being, a certain system, certain, way of making money, a certain object in your house, a certain job, for instance? Because now the universe is asking you now to let that go. To let this thing go, to release it, to not hold so tightly onto it. Because Taurus is a sign that tends to be very, very stubborn. It holds on to its attachments. It holds on to what it's attached to very, very strongly. And now it's time to release this. It's time to release this fixity, this stubbornness, to hold on to this certain structure that may have given you familiarity and comfort, but now it is stifling you. Now it is making you very, very small and holding you back. And now it is time to release this thing and give it up to the universe. Now, can you come back down to the real practical world and make your manifestations happen in a way where you are co-creating and you're flowing with the universe and not just rigidly holding on? This is about making your manifestations happen with that openness, with that flow to the universe, with it allowing the universe to work through you. And where are you over-giving, over-providing? Because Taurus is a provider, gives the need, it gives the food, the money, the everything. Over-giving toward others with not enough self-love in play. Not enough taking care of yourself. Not enough coming back to yourself with who you are and what you want to do when it comes to taking care of who you are. Taking care of the very, very essence of who you are. The very, very nature of yourself on a physical level. Where all this overdoing is not serving you. Where you are just not giving yourself enough grace, enough rest, enough permission to just be. Just be with yourself and take care of what you need to take care of. And so now you're being invited to let this go and to show that you are grounded to the reality and you're earthy and you take care of yourself. Okay, so then Gemini. Where can you let go of the idea that the mind, the thought, the very nature of the thought, the very stimulus of the thought, and allow spirit to work through you. Flow with spirit, flow with the universe. Flow with whatever is going on, Gemini. This is huge for you. Is to allow spirit to work through you. Allow spirit to come as a certain place in your life, as a certain thing going on in your life. Where spirit is there for you and it is supporting you with whatever you're thinking, whatever you're believing. You may be a little bit more scattered at this time, maybe a little bit more all over the place in regard to when it comes to what you're doing, what you're feeling. Gemini is a little bit scattered, a little bit, over here, over there, in many, many multiple directions. And so, when it comes to what you're doing and what you're feeling, maybe grounding it, focusing your energy, not being so scattered at this time, not being so all over the place, as I said the word again, and once you can focus your mind, because Gemini works get scattered in all these different directions, but when it can focus its mind on a particular path, in a particular direction, then it really, really has a lot of goodness come to it. Then it can really, really fixate its mind on the log, the shape, the rock, and just focus its energy. Air is attention. Air is focus. And it's the higher of Gemini. It's focusing your mental energy, learning, reading, researching, understanding, that comes from not just scattered in all these different directions, because to really, really be good at something and learn something very, very well, you need to focus your energy completely toward that thing. And so how are you doing this? And finally, the emotions that were unfamiliar to you, because Gemini is not used to feeling. Gemini is not used to the emotional component of it when it comes to feelings such as sadness, despair, pain. Sorrow is another name for sadness. These emotions could come up for you. These emotions could rise for you in your life. Emotions that you don't really feel all that much. Now you're allowing them to surface. And you're allowing yourself to feel these feelings. Maybe you repressed them. Maybe you've just sort of denied them and been distracted with the next book, the next, thing that you're learning intellectually. But now you are wading in. Now you're choosing to actually feel. Because the thing about air signs is that they have feelings, but do they really choose to feel them? Because they're so in their heads. But now it's time to really, really feel. And be there for yourself in that way. So then Cancer. Now, Cancer is another sign of feeling. your feelings, not denying or repressing these emotions. Not denying these emotions with, who you are and, yourself and this and that. So Cancer, this lunar eclipse is saying to feel your feelings, to allow yourself to lean into the emotion, to not escape them through food or anything unhealthy, to avoid feeling your emotions through things like food. Because food can be a source of comfort, a source of nourishment, but at worst it can be overindulgence, and you're avoiding actual feeling, actual facing the reality of your feelings. And maybe after you feel your feelings, Cancer, you can talk about them in regards to what your feelings. You can voice your feelings, and you can voice what needs to be discussed in regards to these feelings. What needs to be talked about in regards to what you may be feeling. What needs to be, very, very, well versed inside of you. So maybe it's voicing your feelings. Maybe it's voicing your emotions, letting them out, speaking to them, talking about them, bringing it, naming them and claiming them, as they say. Because when you do that, you release them off your chest, you make them conscious, and you feel so much lighter and freer once you release the feeling, and you form a connection with somebody else when you share your emotions with the other, and you receive their emotions, and you have this back and forth, give and take, vulnerable exchange of you and the other person's feelings getting exchanged. So that's Cancer. Now, Leo. What old way of being in how you go about your life, too structured, too scheduled, now you're being invited, because Leo rules the heart. Leo is that connection to the heart, connection to the heart chakra, that really, really opening up your heart, that really, really right center for your heart, going back to something which is in alignment with your heart. Going back upon something which really, really feels good to you on a heart-based level, on a heart-centered level. And now you're going about it in a very, very loving way, in a very, very authentic way, in a very, very, again, heart-based way, and you are living that out in your life. You are doing that and living that out. You're just saying, F the schedule. You're just, not choosing to be beholden to the schedule, because that schedule is not based off of inspiration in the moment. Schedule does not mean that you feel inspired to do this, which is on the schedule. In the moment, you may feel inspired to do something else that your heart is calling you to do. So now it's time to follow your heart, follow your passion, and be the child who plays innocently, does all this. Now, where do you overgive? Where are you overgenerous? Leo is a sign that can give the shirt off of its back, but make sure that you're pulling from your heart. Leo is a very, very generous sign, but make sure that this is coming from a full cup. Make sure that it's authentic generosity, it's heart-centered generosity, where you're giving fully, where you're giving loudly, boldly. And that's essentially what you're doing, Leo, is that kind of generosity, that kind of openness of spirit is really, really huge. So being generous, being very, very generous in this regard, in what you are doing, in how you are giving, everything like this. So, and then what do you want to manifest that's in your heart desire? What do you want to manifest that's heart desire based? That you desire, that you love so deeply, that you care about so deeply, that you're passionate about so deeply. What's in your heart that you want to make happen in your life? Now's the time to follow your heart. Do what lights you up. Do what brings you joy. Do what brings you that heart-centered joy and laughter and love. Do what feels strong, what feels passionate, what feels exciting, what really, really feels true for you. Doing what feels true for you, Leo, is really, really important. Now, Virgo, you need to let go of this rigidity of wanting things to be a certain way, Virgo. Where are you being overly stubborn and fixed? And not allowing for there to be flow. Not allowing change to be very, very strong for you. Where are you in this cycle of wanting the structure to be the way it is, wanting the routine to be the way it is, and everything going according to plan, and everything happening in a certain systematic way with all the structures, and all the things like category, and all the things going in, happening at this time, happening at that time, like a perfectly put schedule. But the fact is that the universe doesn't always care about your schedule. The universe is large and in charge. This is about the South Node was in Virgo. This is a North Node eclipse in the sign of Pisces, where your plans and your schedule being so caught up in, oh, I need to have this happen this certain way. And now you are releasing this, where you're finding that you can surrender to the universe and allow whatever universal schedule and structure to happen the way it needs to happen. Allowing the universe to have the final say in terms of the schedule, in terms of the structure, with whatever you're doing in regards to that. So, that's huge. And then, can you let go of the old ways of being? Making the old structure, getting rid of the old structure to make room for new routines, making room for the new. We clear out our closets to make room for the new stuff to come in, right? We clear out all this stuff going on, all this, difficulty, all of this old stuff that's keeping the room stale, that's keeping the room stagnant. And you're clearing it out to make space for new energy, for new objects to come in, for the room to be filled with new things. If we have our house full of possessions and we don't have room for anything else, we need to clear some of those things out. See? So now it's time to make room for those new ways of being. And those new routines that help us to be present and happy and fulfilled. So that's what we need. And also, we're not burdened here by routine, by work. We're going inside of ourselves and choosing to let go of the need to always fix things, always improve things, always adjust things, and control things. Because the thing about Virgo is it wants to, and this goes for all the earth signs, like especially Virgo and Capricorn, like these earth signs want to control the 3D world like nobody's business. There is a strong need to be in control of what is going on right here and right now. So where are you, burdened by this, by this work? Where can you just stop working so hard? Where can you just let go? Not always work on the routine and rest and just be. What if in the late afternoon sun, August 28th, late afternoon, late August, you stop all the work, you stop the routines, and finally accept that you've done enough. Finally accept that you are enough. You can stop working so hard. That's really, really huge for you. Now, Libra. You may fantasize and idealize about something that's not realistic. About a person, for instance, that is not realistic. That is, maybe you knew somebody and they were a certain way, then they were a perfect way, they were so kind, they were so special, they were so, good in that sense. But that's not living here and now. That's not, being present for what is allowing them to be who they are without always fantasizing and wanting to go back to the version that they were before, but just allowing them to be as they are now with whoever they are, whatever their traits are. And maybe there's a person in a relationship who's a certain way, and you're just seeing the idealized version of them. You're seeing the person that you want them to see. Maybe they're just so kind, so giving, and so whatever, but really they're lonely and they're sad. And they've been holding their emotions of sadness and loneliness and despair inside, and they haven't been letting it out and showing you how they feel. Because they've been overly giving, overly promising. Maybe somebody is really, really mean. They're not nice. It's a typical thing. Whoever they are, try to take the rose-colored glasses off. Try to take your illusions off and see them for who they are. See them for who they really are, Libra. See them for their truth, their authenticity. See them for what they're really all about. That's what you can really, really do for your highest good right here and right now. And what truth about how you relate to others is coming up for you. But truth of relating. Do you just people please? Do you allow the other person to walk all over you? Do you just give and give and give and give? Just go along to get along? Do you just, I don't know, not really share your emotions, not showing your vulnerability in the relationship, maybe, or whatever it is? Maybe you need to change how you relate in order for you to be more relatable and more authentic to who you are. Because often people can relate to authenticity. Yeah. And if you really, really are serious about relationships, then being authentic is a great way to further yourself in relating to other people. I'm telling you that right now, Libra, and I want you to hear me when I say that. Okay? So maybe you need to examine what changes of how you relate to others and what is for your highest good, what is spirit calling you, what is your soul calling you, in order for you to relate in better ways to other people, in more ways that are true for you. Now, Scorpio, Transformation probably needs to happen. What do you need to let go of? What involves letting go? And not only knowing what kind of transformation that you need to have happen in your life, because Scorpio is a sign to let go, transform all the times. It's calling you to let go of a certain attachment that you've gotten so rigidly attached to. Because Scorpio at its best releases this, and through this release they can feel freer, they can feel lighter, they can feel more empowered. Through this letting go, through this adaptability to change, it actually empowers you to actually lift you up. Like, letting go of posting on YouTube, for instance. It's really helped me shine my light brighter ever since I did that just the other day. And why are you transforming and releasing this thing? What's truly driving you to transform and release this thing? What is the overall motive that you're clear on why you are transforming and releasing what you are releasing? Why you're doing this? What's the reasoning behind why you're doing it? And maybe knowing this can really help you with the overall motive of transforming and releasing. So there's two parts to this. It's knowing the what and the why. And for those two things to be aligned with one another and to be aligned with your soul. Now, you're not basking in the bathtub smoking weed or whatever you're smoking. But, you're living in the here and now. You're living right here and right now. You're living in reality. You're living in ground reality. You are pursuing what it is your soul wants you to pursue in physical, tangible form. And pursuing your passions. It's also what it is about. It's going after your passions. Like, what are you passionate about? What lights you up? So after you've done the transforming and releasing, now you can focus on your passions. I sort of am going out of order with these things, and I'm doing this deliberately because these things seem to come out of the book. It's like you can focus on what you're passionate about, what uplifts you, when you feel better after you've done the transforming and releasing. Like, there's step A and then step B. You do that work, and then you focus on what lights you up, what really inspires you, what really makes you feel good. So focus on that, nurture that, foster that, live that out, Scorpio. Now, Sagittarius, discover who you are. Find the truth of who you are. I think that Moana, who is in Moana 2, and Moana original, is a Sagittarius sun, Gemini moon, Sagittarius rising. And I think that she really has discovered herself a lot through both movies. So you're invited to be Moana. Voyage to other lands, discover yourself through exploration, opening up your mind and travel and higher learning and all these kind of things. Finding the truth of who you are in essence. Discovering what your beliefs are, what your values are, what your philosophy is. Through this exploration, you are getting to know yourself better. And you're focusing on spiritual growth, spiritual practice. You're connecting with your universal truth in this regard. So through this growth and practice, you are discovering yourself. You are knowing yourself better. And you're not letting old emotions keep you from present expansion and growth either. You're choosing to be focused on the now. You're choosing to focus on right here and right now with being present with your feelings. With not keeping you from growing right now, expanding right now. becoming more spiritually wise, more spiritually knowledgeable and savvy. And through this spiritual practice, remember that thing on the Temple of Delphi. Know yourself. Know thyself. So being invited to know thyself better during this full moon. Capricorn. Now you may be very, Capricorn has a tendency to be really, really controlling. Right? They want to be the domineering person. They want to be in charge. They want to take the reins. They want to have the reins. They want to be the one making all the decisions and the one in charge of everyone and everything, and they want to be the one doing everything for everybody else and sort of the responsible one, And so this lunar eclipse is saying, be diplomatic, be open to others, be open to what the universe wants from you, open up, flow, and let go of control. Letting go of control of all this kind of thing like that. Letting go of needing to control the outcome, needing to control what everybody does, everybody says. Of all the work that needs to be done, So this is about releasing that control over the 3D world. I think that when you can let go of control, Capricorn, you'll find a lot more peace in your life. A lot more peace, a lot more tranquility, a lot more serenity. Now you're not allowing your emotions to be present. Where do you need to flow with your emotions? Because Capricorn can repress you just for the sake of working so hard, just for the sake of labor, just for the sake of effort put in. So how are you not being present with your own feelings? Feeling them. And moving through them. Stopping repressing them just for the sake of work, but feel, relax, surrender, flow. And maybe you've carried a lot of responsibility, working so hard, workaholism, working really, really ambitiously and diligently, super duper hard, over-sacrificing yourself, overextending yourself, killing yourself in the process of working so darn hard with what you're doing in your life, where you're, with these workaholic tendencies of just slaving away, just for others, just for your task, pushing forward, having the discipline to, the grit to, like Capricorn has the discipline and the grit to focus on a goal, just go all in, and just keep working so hard. But this is time to stop working so hard. Stop sacrificing yourself for the sake of work. Stop sacrificing your own needs, your own emotional needs, your own physical needs, your own bodily needs, just for the sake of working. Do not over-sacrifice yourself for others at this time. Make sure that you are filling yourself up enough. This full moon is saying that you cannot pour from an empty cup. So now you're being invited to do all this. Now Aquarius. Aquarius can future pace. And Aquarius is known for looking at the future, looking at where we're going, further on the timeline, so to speak. Wants to create trends for the future, wants to create a more idealistic, better world for the future. And how can you move forward with into the new with what's going on? How can you move forward into the new land, into the new realm, into the new thing, that you're doing? how can you move forward into the new world, so to speak, in the new life, into your new life. You need to think about what you want for the future, what's best for you in the future. And maybe it's time to not force your idealistic vision on what you want for the future in incredibly fixed ways. Because Aquarius can really focus its energy, can really be fixed. Like Aquarius is fixed on, like, I have this vision, I have this goal, and I'm just focusing on it. I'm just really doing it. And instead, I can flow with the divine. I can flow with spirit. Stop forcing my vision and what I want on, but then flow with what is going on spiritually. What's going on in that kind of way. So now I can flow with the universe and do all of that. That's one of your invitations, is to allow. And to also ground your idealistic visions that you want into reality, flowing with the universe, taking it one step at a time and not rushing it, because it's going to take time to manifest this vision. It's not going to take overnight. That's really essentially what we're being invited to do. That's kind of in a nutshell, what Aquarius is invited to consider during this full moon. Now, Pisces. You may be a little bit scattered this time. You may be a little bit feeling all the feels. You may be emotional overwhelm, feeling everything so much. Because of all the emotions that may be coming at you. Because Pisces feels the world. It's an empath. It's a sponge. It feels everybody's emotions, everything of what's going on with the world. It does all that. It feels all these things. It feels all these, what's going on. So, how can you feel your feelings and flow with these emotions? Let them be there. Maybe you can do this through altered states, like meditation. Maybe you can channel your feelings into art, into anything creative. You're having all these emotions that are coming up for you, because emotions come up during full moon, lunar eclipses, and now you're channeling them into a spiritual practice such as meditation or journaling or whatever. That you're grounding your emotions, that you're moving through your emotions. You may notice a lot of feelings coming up. And it's about allowing the release of these emotions to happen, allowing yourself to cry, allowing the tears to flow through you. Allowing those tears to be there with you. Allowing tears to flow. Allowing yourself to release the emotion, because crying is a release of emotion. You cry, you let the tears out. You release them, as I said before, and they get out of you. And you feel clearer and purer and more free on the other end of it. So you are allowing this kind of thing to happen, where you're having a willing and gentle release, where you're once again in harmony with the divine, because you've released all of these emotions. You're now in greater harmony with spirit. You're connected. Spirit will guide you through riding those waves of emotion. You're being invited to ride the waves. Like the song Cancer, you're Cancer's a fellow water sign to you. Waves of emotion. Waves of emotion will always come to you. Or something like that. Yeah, you're being invited to just flow with your emotions. Do all of that. Feel. Move through that. And connect to the divine. It's your final reminder. Connect to spirit. Connect to your higher power. Connect to your intuition. Because you're ultimately the last sign of the Zodiac connected to this higher realm. So spirit can really be your partner in connecting and moving through all this emotion that you may be dealing with right now. So anyway, that is all that I have to say for all 12 Zodiac signs for the full moon, lunar eclipse, and Pisces. I hope that you enjoyed this. Ooh, it's just 45 minutes? What in the heck? 46. Wow, that's crazy. I really took my time with this, and this was only 46 minutes? Wow. Okay. Well, this was shorter than the collective one. I had a lot to say on that first part. Okay. Thank you everybody for listening. Follow this podcast. Leave me a comment down below. Leave me a review on this podcast. Follow me on Substack. Do all those kind of things like that. Follow me on TikTok. Also, if you're viewing this on TikTok. And I will see you in tomorrow's episode of the Cosmic Sky Podcast, which I don't know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Maybe I'll be talking about maybe I'll be doing maybe I'll talk about, I think maybe what I'll do is do a thing on Pluto and Sagittarius. I think the Pluto and Sagittarius generation. I've been wanting to do that for some time. And then also another episode that I want to do is how do Scorpios act? On that episode, so maybe we'll do that sometime. But I think I'll do Pluto and Sagittarius, getting the Pluto and Sagittarius generation, talking about the traits and the characteristics of people with Pluto and Sagittarius in their charts. And so yeah, that's what I have kind of on the table for tomorrow. So tune in for that episode going on. And anyway, bye for everybody.